Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by GeneralsJoesReborn.com with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostik80. For today's episode, I'm joined by the awesome Patrick Notpicard Stewart and the awesome Dan Larson from Toy Galaxy fame as a special famous guest co-host. In this regular video series, we round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe. What is it, Dan?
It's the Full Force Weekly.
Hey! That worked perfectly. Full disclosure to anyone watching at the moment, we were going to drop Dan in it, and we were just going to have that finish, and then he's going to be sitting there like, what are you guys talking about? Why is no one saying anything? But no, we let him know. Anyway, yes, you may have noticed we've got a very special guest host. Everybody welcome Patrick Notpicard. I'm kidding. Dan, Toy Galaxy Larson. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me on the show. Thank you to everybody in chat that's hanging out and getting ready to talk about some Joes.
There's a lot of people in the chat already. They've been talking since I enabled this YouTube link, basically. Thanks for everyone jumping in. Pat, how are you doing, my good man?
Doing great as always. It's always fun to talk G.I. Joe.
Do you miss not saying it's the Full Force Weekly?
No, it's fine. This is exciting.
I'm going to get you to do it at the end. Right then, who have we got jumping on then? Matt O'Brien. Hello, Matt. How are you doing? You can't tell us how to live our lives, Chris. Lol. You're right, but I can. I've also noticed that when I put a comment on the screen, it ruins our graphics. So I'm gonna do that on the other page. Anyway. Not a lot to really discuss, is the guys, this week, but there was a massive bit of news. Before we get into the news stuff, though, we've got Dan Larson with us. We want to talk about Dan and Toy Galaxy, and if anyone's got any questions for Toy Galaxy Dan, then obviously let us know in the comments, and I will read them out audibly, just so not to ruin our graphics again. First off, Dan, Toy Galaxy, amazing channel. Tell us a little bit about it, if you could, because obviously no one's going to know what it is.
Yeah. Well, if you've never heard of it, Toy Galaxy on YouTube. We're generally a pop culture. At this point, we're a pop culture sort of history channel. History is important, but we also try to present it in an entertaining way. We really try to reach an audience that isn't just, already knee deep in it. You don't have to be into G.I. Joe. You don't have to be into Voltron, Transformers, all this stuff to watch our videos. And we really like getting that kind of feedback from people. The fan is the person who found our channel, but the spouse or the kids or the friend or whatever are the ones that are watching it too. So we try to be informative. We try to be entertaining, and we try to, find some interesting stories to tell about these properties and where they fit into the context of general history and then into pop culture history specifically.
Awesome. And I mean, it's one of those channels I've been following for a long time now. Pat, you're aware of Toy Galaxy, aren't you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I enjoy watching episodes where I know the topic already. I'm excited to see Dan mention specific moments, and he always does. And then there are ones where I just wonder how much time you spent researching things like Robotech.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tough because we have a pretty tight production schedule. We turn our stuff around, within a week. I wish we had more lead time to do things, to really reach out and do like solid, full in-depth documentaries, but that's not really what it is. That's not what YouTube is. It's about digging around as much as possible on the internet, reaching out to some of the people when we have the opportunity to. That's becoming more of a thing now that we're a bigger channel, now that we've started to actually make some connections with some of the people who've done these things. And those conversations are really more like, okay, we found this bit of information. Can you just confirm it? I don't need you to tell me the whole story again, guy who was a writer on the show, just tell me if this is correct. And it's like, yeah, it was correct. And you say, all right, we're good. I don't have any more time to talk to you. Like, no, I got stuff to do, but it's nice to be able to have that as a resource to be able to confirm the things, because Wikipedia can be wrong, and the guy who posted on Facebook can be wrong, and you really don't know. And we're usually looking for like secondary and third confirmation before we put stuff out there. But sometimes you just got to couch your language and say, as best as we could figure out, this is what happened.
I'm always learning stuff on those episodes, so it's great.
So are we.
Whenever you have to put any research into anything, you feel like I don't know. Well, actually, after I've done one of those, kind of like a video like that, and you've got all this knowledge about it, it's great. About 3 days later, I've forgotten everything I learned.
That's it. We become expert. You know, people will ask me questions about things, obscure stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you're such a fan of this. You're so deep in this." And I'm like, "No. I'm an expert for 3 days. And I got to move on to the next thing. I might retain a few things, but it's out. I got to go."
Yeah, delete files. Delete files. Yeah, totally.
Clear up the cache and make some space.
Excellent. Well, if you haven't heard of Toy Galaxy, what rock have you been under? Especially if you watch our show. Like if you're watching our show and you haven't heard of Toy Galaxy, then there's something wrong. But if you haven't, link in the description for YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all of the good stuff, both Dan and Toy Galaxy's links. So you cannot avoid him now, even if you wanted to. Right. So I suppose let's get in then. Let's get stuck in. We are getting a lot of comments. I've really just dropped the ball there. Someone stopped Stranger Things season 4 to watch this. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. that shows you the level, doesn't it? Thanks, Chris. Good morning, Daniel. Hi, Mom. Mom's on the stream. She's given us 3 love hearts. That's 1 each. So there you go. Thanks, Mom. Jeremy says Dan isn't only a great channel, but a great man. If you know, you know. That's very, very, very true. That's why he's on the show today. Nelson says, Toy Galaxy has brought me back to my youth time and time again. Dad's also on the stream. No love hearts, though, just a hi. So thanks, Dad. And Bryn says, hi, Dan. I enjoy Toy Galaxy. Got a lot of love on the stream right now, mate. Do you ever start a video and find there's just not enough interesting info to fill out a video, says Adam Drake?
Yeah, it definitely happens. Our work process is sort of like Greg does the initial research to just kind of cull the general materials together, and then that gets handed off to me, and that's when I go deeper into it and start to build the narrative and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he will frequently do the research on a topic a week before and say, hey, I put this on the schedule, but there's just nothing here. It's just, yeah, it's a thing and people know about it, but it's not interesting. It's like, there was a toy, they made a show, and that's as deep as it goes, So if we can't find something interesting to talk about, then yeah, we'll have to kick it and find something else.
Have you ever gone back to it when more information has kind of come about?
For sure. I can't think of a specific example at this point. We've done 700 videos or whatever, but we've absolutely put things on the list and then come back to it when more stuff came out.
That's amazing. That's a lot of videos. In how long have you guys been on the air now?
April 2015 was our first video. So that's 7 years.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Churning them out, mate. Churning them out. Dan, how often do you do a video for a topic that you knew nothing about before you did the video? You do some obscure stuff.
Yeah, no, we do all the time. I mean, you could even put up, we just did the TV show, The Greatest American Hero. And honestly, beyond having watched a few episodes, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about the actors. I didn't know anything about I really honestly, having not even watched it in probably 20 years, I didn't really even know what the premise was. Like, I knew he was a superhero and I knew the powers were in the suit, but I didn't really know anything about the show.
Yeah.
And so that does frequently happen. Like, I watched a lot of stuff as a kid, just like everybody did, but I didn't watch everything. You can't, at the time there was 3 channels if you were lucky. And if you're watching this channel, you can't watch the other channel. And depending on the television market you were in, maybe it was on in the morning, maybe it was on at night, and maybe you went back in the last 20 years and watched it. Maybe you didn't,
It's funny how often that comes up. Like, I'll remember stuff from my childhood and think, like, trying to find some information about it. I did it. No, this wasn't with a like a TV show necessarily, but I remember trying to find there was a Rambo like M60, right? Like, it was like a modular kids kind of toy gun thing that broke apart into lots of different things, had little targets with it and all sorts. Lots of different stuff came with it. Couldn't find any. I had it as a kid, but couldn't find any information, no images, nothing for years. And then I was talking to Pat one day and just said, yeah, I've never been able to find this. Did a random search, 1 image turned up. And I'm like, that's it. It exists. Yeah. So I was not, So the amount of times that's happened to me is ridiculous. Matthew Matson says, Dan is really getting around these days. That's personal. Road Pig John's asked a question, but I'm going to save that for the second news segment, Road Pig John, if I can remember it. I'm going to say it now so that we can all remember it, guys. But what would your Super 7 prediction G.I. Joe for San Diego Comic-Con be? But we'll hold that one, and we'll all have our little predictions for that. Dan's channel is great. Been a fan for years. Everyone hates the full force. I'm just kidding. Dan, love your videos. You're a very entertaining speaker. What do you do for a living?
Until I've been full-time employed doing this, as has producer Greg. He's been full-time longer than I have. But yeah, I do this. I did all the stuff for years. I did, working in retail management, that kind of stuff. I've worked at health insurance companies. I've done data entry. I've done phone customer service. I've done sales, but for just about a year and a half now, I've been full-time at this.
Fantastic. And one, excuse me, one final question before we move on from Bryn. Is there a show that you want to be brought back? Let's ask everyone that question. What about what's yours, Dan?
Really? Like, there's nothing off the top of my head. Like, for all we cover with this stuff, you tend to cover the same stuff a lot. Like, and I know it sounds weird to say, but I'm not the type of person that is still, and there's nothing wrong with this, that is still like, that was the greatest era. It's awesome. I loved it. I still love a lot of the stuff, but there's not a part of me that's like, I need to have it all back. They brought just about everything back, or kept it alive. Transformers hasn't gone anywhere. Star Wars is still here. G.I. Joe is still here. Like, all the stuff is still here. So there's really not that much that I could say like, oh, that thing is the whole that's still in my, entertainment life. There's not really, I can't think of anything specific.
I know what Pat's is.
Do you?
Well, I'm going to say it, but then it won't be. It's not like, I just assume it would be, but Starcom.
Well, yeah, Starcom is the property that I would like to have brought back for sure. Yeah, that was I actually, in my mind, I was going between Starcom and having the Generation 1 Transformers voice cast dub the Takara episodes. Those were the two things that were in my head.
Going deep there. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's like, I loved Mask, when it was out.
I was just about to say Mask.
The Tracker tease and 25th anniversary, I'm still like, when that came out, I was just like, what is happening? Like, how is this even a thing? They put Matt Tracker, like one of my favorite toys of all time. They put him in G.I. Joe. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
And obviously since then I was like, maybe this wave they'll announce another Mask thing, but if it never comes back, it never comes back. Like, I've still got my old stuff. I've got some custom figures and whatever, and those are cool, and that's good enough,
Yeah, mine was definitely Mask, and I must admit, when the 25th brought Matt Tracker out, I was expecting Miles Mayhem the next week, and it never seemed to transpire. Anyway, that's great. A few of you are already getting in there. A few people says Visionaries as well. Ropig John says Visionaries. That would be a good one. I'd love to do that. Anyway, right. A lot of people saying Ramen Toys are doing Mask, and Starcom as well. Starcom style stuff, isn't it, Pat? Or is it like definitely Starcom?
Yeah, it's not branded Starcom, but some of the vehicles that I've seen are definitely based on Starcom vehicles. So that's definitely on my radar.
And yeah, we did see that Mask little kind of like Thunderhawk style video that they were showing all the features for the other day, which is really cool. Okay, let's get into the news then, guys, shall we? Let's get talking on that, because we've listened to Dan talk all blooming morning already.
12
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Let's get stuck into that first news segment, which is in Retro Classified News. Last Monday, a video review appeared from BEESBATTLEGROUNDS showing off the brand new Walmart exclusive retro classified Lady Jaye. The review looked at the differences between the new figure and the previously released standard classified version, including all of those cool new accessories. The decos are significantly altered from the darker green to the much brighter hue. She doesn't come with the upper secondary anymore, and her cap gets a black deco instead of the older blue. There is a clear difference in the face printing as well, but the real standouts in this release are the awesome vintage style accessories, including that sweet video camera, backpack, spear launcher, and an extra piece for, well, I'm guessing the spear, but I genuinely don't know what that is. Sorry, also one thing I've just noticed is I've gone all the way to the end of the slideshow. So everybody turn away while I quickly rinse back to the beginning like that. There you go, professional. Right, Retro Lady Jaye in hand review, guys. What are we thinking? Pat, I know this is one that you've been kind of excited to see. What are your thoughts now?
Well, I appreciate the review because it certainly highlights the difference between the two, which a lot of people, I think, didn't really think that they were going to be all that different. I enjoy seeing the what appears to be molded together, the backpack and the camera. So I don't think that we'll see the backpack again. I was kind of wondering if the backpack was going to be something that we that may be used again in the future, which it still could, but I kind of doubt it. I think that this is a unique offering. I like it.
Yeah, I think for me the winner here are the accessories, and I absolutely just adore the, we'll get there in a few hours, camera. I think it's so cool. What about you, Dan? Were you, obviously you were aware of this figure, but are you were you like us, kind of excited to see Lady Jaye and like gung ho more so?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how deep they're going to go with these, you know, retro styling things. I'm torn on the accessories. I appreciate that they look like the vintage accessories. I'm not a huge fan of them being like the all one color plastic like the vintage accessories. You know, I'm as an action figure fan, I do like, you know, modern technology and engineering and pushing these things into the future. So if that original figure, which I have, had been done in these colors, it's like, oh, okay, that seems like a compromise to me. I don't mind the current figure; it's totally great. I love the hats and hair switching thing. That was just a brilliant, you know, piece of engineering. But those accessories really just being so flat like that, like that's not really the look I want on my personal shelf. So I would probably have to take those accessories, and I'll probably grab this figure. I would probably have to send them off to my friend Rich and have him paint them up for me. Just like, you know, just a little bit of weathering, you know, maybe some buckles or something, you know, just not so flat.
No, I totally agree with that. I think there was like a balance here, wasn't there, of kind of recreating the vintage stuff, but then like just adding the deco touches, because that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to do. I've got a feeling there might have been a few budgetary scenarios in this, in like the reasoning behind it. Like maybe they could do it, but then cut down the deco ops, and that was allowed them to kind of get the tooling done, possibly.
Sure. Yeah, no, I love what Super 7 has been able to do with their, you know, ultimates, like on the Ninja Turtles, where they give you both sets of accessories. Like you get the fully painted ones, and then you get the, you know, flat plastic ones on the sprue.
Yeah. Great. And God, those figures are amazing. We'll be talking about Super 7 shortly. Anything else on these figures? I mean, Pat, what are your thoughts seeing the two figures side by side? Do you have any preference towards one or the other?
Well, I think it kind of a blend of the two. Like you have the picture, I believe, of the hair on the retro figure, but I don't think the retro figure comes with the hair. I'm pretty sure in the review he said that he pulled that from the other one, which is nice. And if I'm going to end up with both of these, and it occurred to me that having the hat on one and the hair on the other is going to be nice. And I kind of think I appreciate the hair on the brighter figure more, because it looks like that's the Sunbow one, and the other one is the modern update.
Yeah, totally. So you're going to just mix and match until you get the perfect figure, is what you're saying?
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, the figures, it also comes with a stand, which I was quite, happy to see. Well, we knew that was the case anyway.
That's good.
I wasn't actually aware they had so much detail on them. I thought it was just a flat black stand.
Mm-hmm.
I know, obviously, Baroness had her one with the Cobra logo on, and we saw that one. But yeah, it's nice that they've done that, and I think that's kind of cool. Also, I'm not sure if you noticed at the front, there is a space for what would have been a nameplate, but there's nothing there. It's like it's blank. I wonder if they, again, were going to do something, change their minds, like maybe like the deco taken away,
painted up. Yeah, like that would have been red, white, and blue, or gold star there. Yeah, something
like that. Anyway, yeah, really cool. And that's Lady Jaye. That's pretty much all we can talk about on Lady Jaye. So let's move on then, guys, to the next news item, which is in Super 7 news. I know we're all dying to actually talk about the things on this story. On Friday, Super 7 dropped the official reveal that the recently released Red Ninja Surprise Redeco was in fact a Target exclusive, in much the same way as their Secret Service Blue Fun School Snake Eyes, as we had expected. If you haven't seen it in stores yet, have no fear, you can also get it from Target's website, link in the description. But rather than talk about this particular figure, let's discuss what we want to see in the reaction line. Right, I will start with you on this one, Pat, because I know we were talking about this beforehand. Based on our interview with Brian Flynn, he did mention that really cool thing about kind of place or location play sets. Anything that kind of springs to mind for you that you'd like to kind of see them do?
Yeah, it just occurred to me that we were talking about that before. I think maybe we did mention about the locations, but one of the ones that it occurred to me I would like to see is the slaughterhouse. How cool would it be to have some kind of backdrop or something.
You mean the
to
Slammer
be the
House?
slaughterhouse. Yeah.
You mean the Slammer House, don't you? Yeah.
Sure, the Slammer House, whichever.
They could do both and just have the change the text on the outside. Yeah, that would be really wicked. It's such a, I don't know, like it doesn't really get covered much, does it? It's only in like what, the movie?
There's a nice establishing shot of it in the movie that, I mean, realistically, I don't think that they could put together quite what that is, because it looks like it's a combination of various vehicle parts, and then built as a hut. And but I still think there are locations and parts of it, you know, like the pull-up bar and the tires and various things like that, and maybe even just a backdrop of some kind that would be really cool.
You're just saying that. I can't wait to see that on the big screen in a couple of weeks, man. I cannot wait. I just want to see. I want to see Falcon going through those tires, going. Dan, what about yourself, mate? Are there any not necessarily location play sets, but like anything you want to see Super 7 kind of cover they haven't already?
You know, Super 7 hasn't hooked me with this line just yet. I've had Storm Shadow, I've had Snake Eyes in my hands, because, you know, it's like if you're only going to get two, get Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes for whatever, and then you can kind of have the flavor of the line and those guys representing your collection. But I haven't bit just yet. The price is just a couple of bucks out of my comfort zone on that, you know, so I haven't gone in for it just yet. I think I might have, actually, I think I have a Cobra Officer, maybe. It was in one of those boxes that Hasbro sent out at some point earlier this year, last year, whenever it was. But if they start getting into like my weird guys, you know, like if you start getting into like Budo and Hydro Viper, you know, and these kinds of things, I'm not going to be able to walk past that and not buy it. Like I'm going to have to buy those figures, partially because they never get done anywhere, you know, and then just partially because they're just so weird. If they do an Alley Viper, if they do a bat, you know, I'm definitely going to get those guys for sure. For play sets, you know, hey, let's shoot for the moon and say, you know, why not do like a modular, you know, 5 set, like 5 different pieces, and you build the GI Joe headquarters, you know, like here's the prison, here's the jail cell, here's the little map area, here's where you park the car, here's where you park the tank, you know, and just roll that stuff out. Or maybe even like let's do the search for Serpentor, you know, building Serpentor. Let's like do the the different places where they get the different pieces of his DNA from. You know,
that's actually really good. That's
you know,
really
Super
good.
7, those guys, they think outside the box, so who knows?
I'd love because you could kind of see it, couldn't you? You could see it with characters too. Like you could see like a set with like Dusty and Zorana. Zorana, I didn't know it was you. I have to do that every single time. Dusty and Zorana, like in the Egyptian tomb, Xanath Amon Thoth kind of tomb, and it could have like the actual sarcophagus and the DNA extractor and all that good stuff. And it could even come with Zorana's disguise figure as well. I mean, that would be such a cool set, like an Arctic Rescue Mission set, but like that.
If Brian Flynn is not planning a Cold Slither set with like a little stage or something, I don't know.
Yeah, we're never interviewing him again if that doesn't happen. Straight up. I mean, that's expected, isn't it? Cold Slither's expected.
It has to be.
I mean, let's talk about Road Pig John did ask what our SDCC kind of predictions would be. Is that yours, Dan?
It's something like that, yeah. Once he rolled out that set last Christmas there with Santa Claus, you know, whatever else, that puts everything in play. Like anything you go, oh, that's too obscure, that's too weird. No, it isn't. Everything's in play with reaction and Super 7. Like whatever you can think of, that might show up. Yeah,
absolutely. What about you, Pat? What's your prediction?
Oh, I really have no idea. Obviously, Ultimates, I'm eager to get those in hand, but I don't think that's what it's going to be. I think that there's going to be something along the lines of this, but he also said that we weren't going to be getting any more of the PSA figures, so that's kind of out, I guess. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I would like something that's more along the playset or mini vehicle kind of those lines.
Having said mini vehicle, I could see them doing Saturn's band and the van. I could see that being like another kind of set.
That we're basically talking 2 bands, so I think that it would be a good idea to get one of them, nail one of them now, and then maybe use some parts again later to make the other.
Yeah, like do Zartan using Timber's body. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Cold slither timber. Yeah, there's so many different things you could kind of like you could pull from, and I think that the ideas behind them are really, really cool. Like the reaction itself, you know, the structure of the figure and everything, it's very specific to kind of like an audience, isn't it? Like it fits well with like 5-point of articulation figures. But if you're more of a, you know, if you're more of an articulation kind of guy, if you have, sorry, I just wanted to drop a, you know, cheeky Python Viper flexing, just flexing, you know, just flexing a Cobra officer, you know, just flexing. If you're more that way inclined, then I think it's probably you're going to be more towards the Ultimates, and that's also where I'd like to see some really cool stuff. Any particular characters you want to see in Ultimates, Dan?
It's those same ones. Like I'm not a
Hydro Viper.
Yeah,
oh
come on, man. Like what? How many of those would I have to buy? Like I had to force myself only to buy 5 Alley Vipers and 5 Bats because it's such a cool design that every time I see it, it's like I want to get another one. Or every time, I don't see much on the shelves in my area, but you know, it's like just getting the box, opening it, putting it on the shelf. I had to stop myself because I would have just spent too much on those. So yeah, if Hydro Vipers, I really, really would love to see. There's been some really great custom Budos that sort of update that tactical samurai, you know, and modernize it. I loved that figure as a kid, and I would love to see what, you know, a real modern update looks like for that character. And then honestly, I don't even know. Those are my top 3 or top 2, Hydro Viper and Budo. Beyond that, you know, Road Pig, would love to see Road Pig, love to see Big Boa. I like that sort of the pure, you know, military stuff. Like it's good, but when they start to get a little weird, that's really where I live. I'd love to see Wild Weasel, even though I don't ever expect to get, you know, a Rattler. I'd love to see Ace, even though I don't ever expect to get a Sky Striker. I love the pilots, you know.
You could kind of you could kind of do like a 2-pack of the pilots to get away with not having a vehicle or something, couldn't you, I guess?
Yeah.
But yeah, that totally. Let's see what people are saying. Absorbvid says, I want some of the characters from Mass Device. And also I'm happy that it's not destroying our graphics when I choose a comment now. Adam says, someone click Chris doing the breathing sound, lol. And I've done another one there for you, Adam. So you've got 2 options to clip from. Destro's Castle would be great. Any sort of diorama playset they come up with can also be used with O-rings, says Matt. Really good shout there, actually. That's something, isn't it, Pat? Like, I mean, this gives us the opportunity, doesn't it? Like, to have O-ring stuff too, like to kind of interact with.
Yeah, a lot of those settings, like I think I brought up before, Zartan's cabin, and that one was always a big one for me. I loved the idea of just this cabin in the swamp that on the inside has all this crazy technology. But yeah, I mean, anything that they make conceivably should be useful for O-ring figures. So if you're already not into the line because it's 5 POA, there's other stuff in it. I thought it was funny that the dogs and the dog sled team are articulated because they're part of this line. But if they fit exactly with the O-ring stuff, then they wouldn't have been articulated.
Yeah.
It's like the Switch. Yeah, it's like everything upside down world. Matt O'Brien says mainframe and beachhead in that one tomb. Yeah, that was Vlad the Impaler. Excuse me. Yeah, that was Vlad the Impaler when they were in like Transylvania or whatever, and they get trapped in there with the Baroness. And you could do the Baroness as a ghost hologram type figure, and they love glow in the dark stuff. So that would be like a perfect one to do. Also, I'm not sure if you saw in that interview, but when Brian explained the process of doing glow in the dark figures, blew my mind. I had no idea that's how it was done. I just thought it was like it's like the plastic is glow in the dark and they pour it into the mold, and it's like pellets, different pellet, this color pellet, that color pellet, and all sorts of different things go into it. And then you have to do it in certain stages to get the kind of, it's crazy. I never knew that was the way they did it. Were you aware of that, Dan?
Nope. No, I watch anytime Brian does an interview with anybody, I watch it because he's always sharing. He's just open. Like, here's how this works. And before you get on me, understand that this is the process. And I have learned so much from listening to his interviews.
That's very true, actually. Like he does. He's very, very open to the point of giving away information that he shouldn't do very, very often. Anyway, yes, that was a good shout, actually, Matt. I love that one. Yeah, Matt wants Saturn's band. I really just want Timber from that set as well. How funny would that Timber be with the hat and the crazy tail and everything? What else we got going on? Daniel says, I echo what Matt is saying. Anything that could be used with the O-rings I'm in for. I decided I'm not going to collect the figures, though. Have to stop somewhere. I think that's a lot of people's kind of position, isn't it? Sorry, Dan, every time I put a comment up, you're literally removed from the show. I didn't do that on purpose, although knowing that in the future, I will.
Somebody's got to sit behind the graphics.
Sorry, Pat. That'll be you next time.
That's fine.
My prediction says Bryn is a reaction flag. Wow. Probably not, actually, in that sense. But could you see them doing something ridiculous like that?
Me, no.
Yeah, it's a lot of this, guys.
I think it was a once in a lifetime thing, and it's just not coming back. Like I appreciate, people's desire to have it back and to challenge, these companies to try to do something like that. If you can build Snake Mountain, why can't you build Flag?
Yeah.
But
I think the one interesting thing that came out of that interview was the fact that Brian says, it's the people the people you think are buying this aren't buying it. Like it's not a huge selling thing. He's almost like a passion project getting the G.I. Joe license for them, isn't it? So
I feel like those big items, that market has been tested, and I think some of these companies have really seen like, all right, we've flown too close to the sun. let's back off. We can't do this kind of thing anymore. Like that Thunder Tank, I don't know. When it gets
and the party wagon.
It's one thing to ask for it, and then when the company calls your bluff and says, okay, we're making it, and then you buy it, what do you do with that thing when you finally get it? It just...
Well, you drive it.
I get you sleep on it because you got to put it somewhere. I don't know.
You put a real engine in it and you take it to work every day. That's what you do. Dan Klingensmith. Hello, Dan K. He says Mutton Junkyard Ultimate is what he wants. Absolutely. Yes. Bryn wants an Ultimate Zartan. My goodness, could you imagine, and speaking as a person here, Dan, of someone that's dressed up as or cosplayed as Zartan on occasion, could you imagine the amount of like things he would come with, the amount of accessories?
Oh man, they'd give him like 20 different faces for sure.
Oh, it would be crazy. I would want the one from Worlds Without End where he takes the mask off of a white man with an old white man's mask, and there's Zartan in full makeup, hood, and another green breather mask on. I'm like, how big was that guy's head? I love all that. But I'd love to see them do that face mask. I think that'd be wicked.
Yeah, I'm really worried about those Ultimates. I have all 3 waves on pre-order, and I'm really worried that they're going to be really good.
Did you see? He showed off the bat.
I did see it. It looked really good.
So gorgeous. I've also realized we've been on the same image for the last 12 hours. This is a good one from Matt. Yeah, I cannot wait to see when Super 7 reveals Dreadnought Ultimates. That's another really good shout. In fact, Dreadnoughts have been, apart from like Zartan and Zorana, we haven't really seen a lot of the Dreadnought team, have we, in any of the lines? And we're in year 3 of Classified. We're in more or less. We're in year 1 still of O-Ring, I guess. But it's weird, and like Super 7 have just been churning figures out. We haven't had any Dreadnoughts yet, have we?
Nope.
Crazy.
We've got Zorana coming, so.
Well, yeah. Other than Zorana and Zartan, it just seems like a little bit. I don't know. I'm surprised that we haven't seen an actual like lackey Dreadnought so far.
Like Torch Ripper or Buzzer. Get started with those 3 again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even Road Pig. I mean, that Lenny talks about Road Pig so often on every stream. I'm surprised we haven't seen the Sonic Fighters version first. With the tan. Adam says, I would guess SDCC would be the ideal place for Flynn to put out a Sergeant Slaughter Ultimate. It's possible. I mean, Hasbro have just done one, and the Sarge seems to be in every space of every toy line ever created in the last couple of years. So he gets around. He gets around more than you do, Dan.
I've met him. I met him at RetroCon. I think I met him at RetroCon.
Yeah, we met him at Joe Fest, didn't we, Pat? Or have you met him before then?
No, that was I managed to miss him each time he was at JoeCon, so Joe Fest was my first.
Yeah, that was fun. That was my wife Kate was also dressed as the Sarge that day with a tash and everything, and they met and shook hands. And there's a great picture of the two of them like meeting. And yeah, he was really nice. So such a good guy. And you might also see an idiot dressed as a Night Force Lightfoot on the side, kind of with a big beaming smile on his face as Sergeant Slaughter meets Sergeant Slaughter Slammer. Okay, yeah, we've got loads of comments coming in, guys. I can't get to all of them, and we do have to move on, unfortunately, because we've got a bit of big news to talk about next. But we have covered Super 7 in a lot of detail there. Anyway, what was the last news story of the week? Well, it was the biggest. Well. Save this cheeky little news story for last. Yes, late Tuesday evening, a leaked Hasbro Pulse Dev website link started doing the rounds, showing anyone who clicked on it, which was a lot of people by the way, a brand new yet to be revealed Hasbro line called the Selfie series. The link was shut down after a few hours or so, but from the info on the site and a few educated guesses, it was clear that we were looking at a line designed to have your likeness taken from a selfie, placed onto a figure, and each 6-inch Hasbro option from Marvel Legends to Star Wars Black Series was on the table. Specifically for us, there was a Snake Eyes choice, which would see your own head sculpt sitting on top of the standard classified retail release, and I have to say this is a very cool idea indeed. We also got to see the proposed packaging for the line, and I'm thinking we might see this rolled out sooner rather than later. Yojo June, anybody? It does bring up a lot more questions, however, so let's get stuck in, shall we? Yes, let's get stuck in. Do you like that picture of me as Snake Eyes, by the way? That's exactly what it'll look like as well, exactly. This was crazy. Now, had you been a patron of our show, an SAS or Red Shadow Army patron, you'd have known about the Selfie series, or the name the Selfie series, for over a year now, because it popped up randomly in a bunch of retailer information. We didn't know what it meant. We did a little Patreon special for those particular patrons of ours. And we've been umming and erring about what it could be for ages. The stuff we were coming out with was like, maybe it's like G.I. Joe selfie sticks, or maybe it's like, we just couldn't work it out. And then lo and behold, this website dev link does the rounds one random evening. And we went live and we talked about it with a lot of people. But what on earth happened here? First off, I mean, someone's got to have been fired for this slipping out. I had this in my head. I had this story going through my head of the executive Hasbro person running down the stairs with a big mobile phone and like a silk dressing gown, trying to desperately get it around him as he's running down the stairs, yelling at one of the techs for, how has this gone out there? I just thought that was what was going on as it happened, which probably wasn't far from the truth actually. But this drops and we get all these website pages showing all the different figures, the different classified Black Series, Marvel Legends, etc., with these heads. We also get lots of them. We also get this packaging layout, and we also get the information on the packaging layout, which stated it started with a selfie. Now, when you look inside this box, you will find a customized one-of-a-kind action figure of yourself. Pretty damning and obvious what's going on here, isn't it? I mean, how excited? But is this something that you guys are into? Pat, are you into this?
Yeah, obviously, this is something I was hoping to have happen for years, to be able to have my own face on a toy of mine. I think everybody kind of wants that. That's kind of like a tradition with G.I. Joe, it seems to be, since a lot of those faces are people from Hasbro. You just kind of want yourself among them. So yes.
And Dan, you were pulling a funny face there. You're not going to be army building yourself.
I'm not sure about this. I need to see how it works. I need to see what the actual technology is. I need to see what the turnaround time is, what the actual price is. I mean, $60 sounds pretty cheap for the figure itself, plus this custom made head. And how is the fulfillment process going to work? And how many? What if they get 10,000 orders on day one? How are they going to fill that? How are they going to pack that and put them in the boxes and send them out?
Yeah, I know. Like I'm the same as you. Like I want to know how it works. Now, a while back, I think it was in 2014, I want to say, it was Marvel, Disney, Hasbro, and 3D Plus Me, I think it was called, with the company. They brought out a press release, and it was a thing called Super Awesome Me. It was 12-inch figures, and you could get your likeness on it, but you go into a booth, you get a quick scan, 30-second scan, and bosh. 4 weeks later, you'd have your shampoo bottle, 5-point of articulation, Iron Man or Cap or whatever figure they had on offer. It went out, I think, to 12 locations, Walmarts and Sam's Clubs across the US. Obviously didn't get very far because it didn't catch on, or it didn't really do much, or they did what they wanted it to do and then moved on. And since then, like I mean, we got that information about the Selfie series, what, a year and a half, maybe even 2 years ago. So a long time ago that it was on their minds. Definitely would have been in the development prior to that. It's been a long time since then. Now we're talking about the tech, maybe like the technology's improved, maybe the turnaround time is about the same, or maybe is improved. But surely the shipping delays are going to cause a problem with that as well, aren't they?
It doesn't seem practical to me that if I take a selfie of myself and send that in, that doesn't give you that full 3D sort of head look. So I've read a couple of things that said it's possible there are default heads, you know, that you pick from.
Right. Yeah.
And then you basically, the selfie is just the facial printing technology printed onto the default head that you picked. That I would think at least would go faster, as you know, you don't actually have to make a new head. The robot or whatever is doing the work just grabs the head, prints the face on, puts it on the thing, and sends it out. You know, the bodies are probably pre-packaged, I guess, maybe in the box, and then the head just gets snapped onto it and you send it out. But yeah, I'm very, very curious to see what the actual process is, or if it's like you just, you know, mimed there, Chris. You know, is it the
scan? Yeah,
60 of your own head and send that in?
I could see that being like an app kind of thing. Would you? I mean, what do you think, Pat, on that one?
Well, I find it a little bit weird that this pops up accidentally this week during the same time as Star Wars Celebration. It almost feels like somebody was maybe in there because there's the exclusive Jon Favreau figure that is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive that you do need to access the website, and there's some sort of technology that seems to be weird. Like if you have the link for that figure, you can't just buy it. And I don't know if it's a one-time code or if it's geo-fenced, but it almost feels like as they were intending to turn that on, they accidentally went in and did this. So I don't know if that's an indication of maybe it is something that they intended to have happen at a convention. I find it weird that whenever it was on, I was digging through other parts of the site, hoping to find other things listed that nobody knew about. And this was really the only thing. So I don't know. It could work, like you said, with a selfie that you take and then it's printed on a pre-sculpted head. I think that's probably the most simple way of figuring it out. But that Super Awesome Me that you brought up seemed like it was a technology test of sorts, but it probably was more to test the process of, you know, how do we take these orders and then make sure that the person's order is fulfilled quickly and that that's the figure that gets actually to them. You know, there's technology behind it other than the 3D printing that would need to be the bugs worked out, and that may have been a test.
Yeah, I just like I take all of that out of my mind, and I just think my own action figure with my own head sculpt. I'm buying 1,000 of them, and you can't stop me.
Well, I was going to say, once they have your face on file, can I buy the Diagnostik80 figure?
Exactly. Yep. That's what I'm talking about, and then we can have a real competition as to who is the most popular.
Who's moving the most merch?
Bryn says the selfie series will drive completionists crazy. Could you imagine having to go around and get everyone who's ordered one of these and like, could you just get an extra one for me? Thanks. Yeah, I'll spend the 10 grand to get everyone's figures. But no, I tell you what, like if they can do this and they can do it really well, and you know they somehow have my hair on file, which I doubt they do. I doubt they've got my hair as a pre-sculpted piece because that is just unique. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited to see how they do
many
it.
variables. There's so many variables.
There
Like
are.
not everybody has the same quality, you know, phone to take a picture. The lighting is going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
What happens if it's blurry or whatever? You get the figure back and it's all blurry across the face, you know? Like, how's that going to work?
Like, if it's like The Ring, or if it's like Firefly.
And there's going to be people who are going to want to do that on purpose to see if they can break the process, you know. And what is that? What happens there? How many people are on the team that's going to just have to take care of, you know, the customer service end of this and the fulfillment end and whatever? I'm very curious to see how this rolls out.
Well, if any company's set up to do something like this, it's Hasbro, I guess.
See.
there wasn't a lot of confidence.
It's not going to keep me awake at night. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the figure might. When you get the figure and it's like there on display and you're looking at yourself and it's looking back at you, that might keep you up at night.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, if it works, I'll definitely order one. I have to.
I really, really am interested. I'm intrigued. It looks quite far along in terms of the, or at least the presentation of it. And it also looks like in the packaging, there's a lot of like cute things they've done. So the packaging is very specific to this Selfie series. And it looks like a slide on kind of sleeve and then an open window box. And obviously this is going to be delivered to you. You ain't going to find this in stores. I swear, if I see my figure like peg warming in Target, I will be very, very upset.
Somebody's going to swap you out for a Spider-Man or something.
That could happen. Anyway,
but yeah, no, really interesting. In the comments there, someone mentioned like, you know, people are going to be trying to do like celebrity faces and send in pictures of people that they aren't. You don't have permission to use my likeness. What if somebody orders a picture of me? What if somebody orders a picture of you? You know, there's just a lot of questions on this.
Adam says the tech has existed for over 10 years, to be fair. It's extremely basic compared to the face printing they use on their main lines. The tech has been there, hasn't it? But like, also, like you want it to be at this point, you want it to be like the same quality as, you know, for example, Flex, this Spirit head from the classified line, and maybe even this Freedom head.
It's so lifelike.
just flexing, just flexing. But yeah, like I think that for me is going to be the kind of, I don't know, the game changer. If they can get the quality right, my goodness, I'm going to be buying multiples of these. Pat, how many are you buying? Seriously?
Well, you know, the questions that I have is what figure is it going to be on? Is it going to be a unique figure? So, for example, if they're doing multiple brands, I'm of course going to buy G.I. Joe, and I'm going to buy anything that they offer. I would assume that they're going to do a male-female of each brand, I would think. So, you know, what do I do if there's a unique of both of those? I don't know who I'm going to pick to be the other character.
You could be you as well. You could just put a wig on and do the scan again, and then you could be, I don't know, Scarlet or Lady J.
Just run it through one of those Snapchat filters or something first.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Me older, me younger, me as a girl, all that stuff. Me as a pickle.
I definitely want the Diagnostik80 pickle version as well. I think there are going to be people definitely uploading like celebrity faces, but like again, I think there's got to be a team that's going to be cutting that out. It has to be, because
there could be some sort of like confirmation that you have to go through too. They could do a lot of different things. Plus, what do they do with people that always wear glasses?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you're really just buying the head, right? Like, I assume the head is removable, just like any other head. It's going to be put it on a ball peg. And, you know, if I want to be an Alley Viper, if I want to be, you know, Duke or whatever, I can just swap that head. You know, if Snake Eyes is the only body that's available for G.I. Joe, I already have that Snake Eyes, you know, so I'm really just buying the head and the presentation. I don't care about the box. I'm going to chuck the box anyway. So it's really just that head. So I'm curious. This was completely unexpected. And, if it works, if it can actually look as good as these samples, the better ones, you know, then it's a game changer, I think. And it's sort of an indicator of a different way of the toy companies and the industry engaging with fans for a product that could never have existed before.
Absolutely. Sorry, I had to highlight this comment from Matt. As creepy as it would be, I would own a Chris and Pat figure, lol. Yeah, you'd be You'd be one of 2 people that would have those. I want to get my entire family on action figures. So I'm just going to be like sending the app to everyone. Go, if it is an app, send an app to everyone, or send me pictures, send me full turnarounds. I need 500 images of every angle around your head, and then I'll get, you know, mom, dad, get them all done. That'd be amazing.
I would take a Dan Larson on a vintage Boba Fett body.
Coming soon to our Patreon.
I would get Dan Larson on a flint. That's what you need. Could you wear? You'd have to wear like a beret. Actually, it's removable. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get Dan Larson on a flint figure.
Yeah, just go buy the Mr. Fantastic Marvel Legends figure. Swap the head.
Perfect. Right. I think that's pretty much everything we discussed on there. One other thing I will mention. You mentioned about the removable heads. Some of the heads are on slightly different ball joints, aren't they? That's another thing you have to take into consideration, I feel. But then again, I suppose if you're a competent customizer, you'll be able to you'll probably be able to kind of work that out, I guess.
I would assume that the bodies that would be used for the various brands within the Selfie series would probably be swappable. That they would work that out as they manufactured those figures, I would think.
Lord Towers made a good point here. Yes, actually agree with that, Pat. Maybe the leak was on purpose so they can see the discourse and feedback on it. It's possible, but also, I don't know, it did feel like a massive mistake. But it was up for a while before anyone noticed. Did you know? It was like a couple of hours it was up, that link. And then as soon as I reported on it, I'm not saying I was the reason Hasbro saw it, but when I reported on it, a few minutes later it was down. So I'm going to take full responsibility for that.
It could also never happen.
That's another good point. Yes, it could. This could just be like a test. It could be something they never really intended to get out there. Pretty dangerous to do it on a website thing like that, though, isn't it? Don't you think?
Well, I was just thinking that since it's not something that has actually happened and we weren't supposed to see, ideas try to be launched all the time and never come to fruition. So maybe we won't unfortunately see this, or maybe it's just still a long way off.
That's another good point. Yeah, it could be a while off, this one. In any case, I'm getting one, Pat's getting one, Dan's on the fence until he sees the quality. Let us know in the comments where you have been. I'm just really like dropping the ball massively today. But you know, we've got Dan on. I've got to be responsible for 2 children today, so it's Pat's like, how dare you? How dare you call right, yeah, so there you go. That's the Selfie series. Really excited to see this. I'm sorry if I'm the only one. I'm really excited about this. Probably the vanity in me, probably a little bit, you know, I just want to see myself as an action figure at some point. Dan, have you got an action figure of yourself?
I've got some customs. Nothing that I haven't really sought out or commissioned anything. Just a couple of, you know, fan pieces that have been sent in. Like I've said, there's that one Mr. Fantastic Marvel Legends head that it's good enough for me. As far as like, you know, it's not obviously me. It's not based on me, but it's like middle-aged white guy, you know, with some white on the temples, a little bit of white in the beard. Good to go.
Perfect. Pat, who would your celebrity head sculpt be in the, like, who do you most look like in the G.I. Joe line, for example?
I don't think I look like anybody, really. It's my head is so large that if they actually made it as an action figure, people would complain that it was disproportionate.
I'm going to say Baroness is probably your doppelganger.
Sure, I'll take it.
Tiger Force Baroness. Right. I've got a few little kind of customs, but they were done by friends. Like Raging Spoon did one for me, did a head sculpt for me, which was really adorable. And it has my selfie face on it as well, where I kind of go like that. So he did that for me, which was great. And there is another one. Jim Godfrey made me a figure with my head on it, which was really cool. So thank you to those guys for doing that. Anyway, Viper Scout says Chuckles, Pat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take it. Sure, that'd be fun to put myself on a Chuckles. I think if I had myself on a figure, if they do the Selfie series, rather than doing like Snake Eyes or a specific character, I think the obvious one for G.I. Joe would be Steel Brigade.
That's a really good shout, yeah. Or Steel Battalion now.
Steel Battalion, sure.
Special Corps, as we call it in the UK, which that would be really cool, actually, wouldn't it, to have that head sculpt for something like that, or create a Cobra, or something along those lines would be dope. The other thing that obviously Dan mentioned was just having them on like a trooper, like an alley viper, or a trooper, or a officer or something. That would be really dope. A Viper would be pretty cool as well, actually. Like that non-helmet version would be really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you can put different forearms on Breaker, so that it can so that figure without a head could work across races, across skin tones, across whatever. Breaker basically is just your generic green shirt body right now.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay. Well, another thing that someone mentioned, sorry, I keep kind of getting distracted, but another thing someone mentioned was, and this was on the Newsburst Live I did last week, was the fact that you could do really fun things. Like if you were twins, or if you could do Zaymont and Tomax. So you could both do your head sculpts and then on Zaymont and Tomax. Couples, you could do Destro and Baroness. You could do Lady Jaye and Flint.
I wanted what is going to be the extent of the like facial expression capture here? Like if you wanted to do a Tomax and Zaymont of yourself, can you buy two different figures, make two different facial expressions or something, put a big fake scar on your face for one, like
change the direction of your hair.
Yeah.
that would be quite fun. Just do, because I mean I guess there's no like limit in how many you go back to buy, like unless there is. I didn't notice it. But that would suck. It's like you can only have one. We've got one sculptor working on all of this, guys.
Yeah,
Corey's doing all of this.
There's a lot of people doing stop motion animation and stuff. Could I order 20 different figures with a progression of expressions or different emotions or whatever? Yeah, to be able to better stop motion animate my characters. Import figures tend to come with like 3, 4, 5 different heads with different facial expressions. And that helps, that helps when you're watching some of these stop motion animators. There's potential here to do a lot of interesting things.
I'm sure you can. You just got to drop about $800 in order to get all of the phases.
Sure. 24 frames per second.
I'm going to need to buy 86,000 figures. Is that possible? All different face, all different sculpts. Playware Talk Red says exceptionally large head, can relate. Okay, cool. Oh, Phil's on the show. Hi, Phil. Gonna need me a Joe and a Ghostbuster. That's another good point as well. Obviously, the multiple brand aspect is a really good idea, I think, from Hasbro there to kind of do that.
What do you think they would do with the name on the Ghostbusters? Because your last name is
like Ghostbuster on it.
Probably. Yeah.
I was thinking, because obviously this is a Snake Eyes figure and this is a Spider-Man figure, I'm guessing it would be a choice out of the Ghostbusters you have, and your head would just be on a Venkman or a Stantz or a Zedmore and so on and so forth. Like, I think that might be the way they go for it. A lot of the figures, I'm not sure if it was everyone, but most of them seem to be completely covered up, gloves as well. Like, it seems to be like they've chosen those particular characters so that they can get more scope out of, like, the head could just be the skin tone change and not like hands. And there is one that did have fingers exposed. I think it's that Walgreens exclusive, the Mandalorian.
Yeah, he's got like orange fingertips, like regular Mandalorian gloves.
My bad. In that case, then I think they've probably covered their bases.
That's why I was saying Breaker you could use Breaker, but his forearms are exposed, and I think his neck is too. So you'd have to like bring the collar up, swap out the forearms for sleeves, good to go.
Completely retool it, build another figure at that point. Awesome. Okay, well, there we go. That's all of the news this week, guys. Thank you for trudging through that with me. We're gonna obviously lead into the shout outs next. But before that, let's hear from me about Hoarder.
Hey there, guys. Just wanted to let you know about an app that I've been helping to develop for a few years now called Hoarder. But what is Hoarder, I hear you scream? Well, A number of years ago, I discussed a project with a good friend of mine and now co-owner/developer about an app that could help collectors of all shapes and sizes. I'm talking about the shapes and sizes of the collections really, but also people. The app would be a place where you could share your new items, build collections and sub-collections, or just browse the feed to see cool things. Well, we made it. We tested it for a number of years, and now it's out there for you to enjoy on iOS or Android devices. You can upload a single item at a time at your own pace and slowly build your collections. You can post status updates that could be related to your collections, like getting a delivery or posting a scene in which you can tag items in that image if you've uploaded them in the past. You can add tags to your items in order to easily search for and find them, and of course to add them into your respective collections. You can like posts, comment on them, or start a conversation with a fellow collector, directly message users you follow, and even add items you see on your feed to your want list. If you prefer to use your computer or laptop, have no fear, you can use the website browser version and even utilise the awesome inventory option, allowing any user to change certain details, add notes, upload bulk items from spreadsheet files, and download a CSV of your entire itemised collection. We made this app for collectors, and we hope that you enjoy using it as much as we enjoyed creating it. Now get to hoarding.
Shout outs. Right, first up then is going to be Pat with his shout out. So take us through it, my good man.
Okay, first, as always, shout out to Philip. He's here in the comments. Hello, Philip.
Hi, Philip.
Actually, I was thinking of him when we were talking about the Super 7 potential for locations, because he made a really cool Dr. Mindbender lab at one point, and I think that Mindbender's lab would also be, like, if there were a couple of tubes you could put a figure in.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
You'd have to buy several sets because there'd be so many figures I would want to put in that in that dio. So that would be a good one if Super 7 did that. So shout out to Philip as always.
Shout, Phil.
And then next I have CALLSIGN Longbow, which is on Kickstarter and has well exceeded its initial goal, its initial funding goal. I think that
little bit.
I looked, and the most recently they just unlocked Ghost. So I'm hoping that they unlock some more things. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely do. It's an amazing style figure that looks a lot like vintage G.I. Joe.
And link in the description as well if you want to go pledge for that. Any others, Pat?
Yes, another Kickstarter that's currently happening as well that is G.I. Joe related. The After Action Report, which is the second part of a guide to the G.I. Joe comics from Josh Eggebeen and Roger Taft. So I've known those guys for a long time. They are, you know, we always talk about how much various people know about things, and those are the guys that I ask questions to if I have G.I. Joe comic book questions.
Blimey.
So, what?
Pat, you're like you're the knowledge of the G.I. Joe fandom, and you're asking people for stuff.
Well, you know, that's how you know things, is knowing the guy that knows the thing. It's not knowing them yourself.
And how quick they respond
to ask.
How quick they respond to messages when you get asked that question, and like totally.
Yeah. So definitely check that out. It's on Kickstarter right now.
Awesome. Thank you very much, my man. Dan, any shout outs for yourself?
Hang on, I'm setting up my Hoarder app account.
Oh,
right now.
Sweet. Dan is getting on Hoarder. Dan is shouting out Hoarder for this shout out.
I'm not endorsing it just yet. I haven't tried it. So
typical. No endorsement. He's just getting in there to see.
You're going to cut up that audio, and it's going to be Dan Larson endorses Hoarder.
I don't even have to now. You just did it. You did all the work for me. You edited it for me.
Yeah, there you go.
No, that's totally cool. If you have any questions, obviously let me know.
No real shout outs. Just appreciate everybody hanging out in chat today and watching the show and listening in.
Absolutely.
Participating.
I'll do mine. We've got my wonderful family in the UK and obviously in the United States. My lovely wife Kate and my little girl Phoebe, my little miniature schnauzer.
I wanted my wife Kate as well, of course. I thought that was assumed.
So no, you have to
okay.
you have to be very specific on this show. I think you're watching at the moment, aren't you, honey? She might be, I don't know. She's probably just got fed up, so I can't be bothered with this anymore. Anyway, big shout out to all the family. Love you all very much. And obviously Mom and Dad who are in the comments at the moment. In fact, Mom just mentioned something. I think she said thanks. Yeah, she did. Brilliant. Thank you, guys. Kiss, kiss. There's only 2 kisses there, so I guess I've lost one. And it's one for Pat and one for Dan. But that's totally fine. I understand, Mom. Yes, and of course to Brian Sauer for our amazing graphics, Brian and Moxie in the shot there. Yeah, for our brilliant graphics, and also for last minute getting me some Dan Toy Galaxy Larson graphics to go along with the show today. So really appreciate that, Brian. Thank you so much for doing that. And they worked a treat. Thank you. Also, the biggest shout out of the day to Dan Larson himself. Thank you, mate, for coming on. It's so, and Eric Aranya as well in that picture in the background. If you want to zoom in at any point, guys, that is the creepiest picture of Eric Aranya I think I've ever taken, or someone's ever taken. But thank you so much for coming on the show today, Dan. We really appreciate it. It's been lots of fun. It's
funny because I had a idea of who you were at the time. Like I was familiar with your voice and Boss Fight and all that stuff.
Oh, cool.
I was like, I recognize that guy. I just looked it up. We were talking about it before the show, trying to nail down when exactly this convention was. I looked it up. We had 5,500 subscribers at the
time. That's amazing. Yeah. And now you have, go on, drop the clanger.
Yeah, 324,000. So
wow.
Show.
Basically, Dan has a few more than we do.
You're right there. You're right there.
Yeah, we're so close.
One good streak and you're in it.
One good 300,000 week and we're in the game. No, that is amazing. Dan, I have to say, mate, when I sent you the message, and when you were commenting on I think last week's weekly, weren't you? And obviously we made a big deal of it because Pat and I were like, that's amazing. And then I thought, well, I'll just message him and see if he ever wants to come on, he's more than welcome. And you said, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, well, I wasn't expecting that. So let's, oh, damn it. I've got some work to do. But no, really, really happy to have you on. Everyone in the comments has loved it as well by the looks of things. So thank you so much for jumping on, mate. You're more than welcome to come on whenever you want. I know, like that said.
Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought that was the case. I was going to say, you're more than welcome to come on whenever. And you're like, no, never again. Thank you very much. Yeah, so thank you very much. Anything you want to say, Pat? About
no, just thanks also to Dan for coming on. It's nice to have you on.
Definitely. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, then. And of course, to all our wonderful viewers, listeners, patrons, all of you guys, for making the show what it is, for all of you guys chatting in the comments and obviously giving us loads and loads. Oh, there's Kate. She's watching. Thank you, darling. There's a love heart. It's one, I'd probably just for Dan, so not for me or not for Pat. See, this is the thing. I go specifically, if there's only one heart, it's only for one of us. Do you know what I mean? It's not for all of us. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us, Dan. Pat, thanks for jumping on as well, buddy. Really enjoyed this episode. More so than any other episode because Dan's on it and we have to say that. Right. We will be back very soon. We've got some really cool intel coming up on the Patreon. We've got, obviously, I imagine, news bursts in the week. We've got Yojo June just around the corner. And even though we've almost missed the boat for the next monthly, I will be trying to rush that out very soon. Probably won't be in May. You'll probably get 2 for June. So I'll be trying to work that out very quickly. But lots of cool stuff to come. Thank you to everyone for jumping on and joining us. Thank you guys. And at the end of these episodes, you know what to do. I'm sure you know what to do, Dan, as well. Pat, you definitely know what to do. After 3, 1, 2, 3, force. Amazing.
Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. full force.